Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining in to a Lead Square session. Today, we are going to talk about increase your property sales with automation and conversational engagement. We have with us our partners at Gupshup and our sales head for the Middle East, Atharv. Atharv and Abbas, if you could introduce yourself, that would be great.
Sure, guys. My name is Abbas, and I'm the country manager at Gupshup. Gupshup is typically a conversational engagement platform that helps companies interact with their customers using various channels. And today we'll be talking about how we can actually help real and how we have been helping the UAE real estate market when it comes to generating leads, qualifying leads, and actually having that engagement enabled between the leads so that the ROIs can be improved as well as the closing ratios are improved down the life cycle of the customer.
Thank you so much, Abbas. Athar.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining the session today. It's great to see you guys joining. It will be an informative session on the learnings that we have done so far and helped the businesses across all different brokerage firms in UAE, outside UAE. With the new modern age changes and the technology that is being used to drive more conversions is one of the key aspects that we'll be covering today, and how technology can be used to leverage your current funnel, your sales prospects, and eventually we are all here to close more deals and get more revenues out of it. So looking forward for the session. Thanks, Jagrati.
Thank you so much, Athar. We also have with us the Senior Director from Gupshup, Mr. Mukul. Mr. Mukul, if you could just share a few lines. Oh, okay. I think he's a bit preoccupied. No worries. I'll just have some instructions for the audience. So, audience, there will be certain polls and questions coming up during the conversation that will be happening between Atharv and Abbas. So, I would highly encourage you all to interact with those polls and answer those questions. We will also have a Q&A session at the end of the conversation. So, it will be in the last 10-15 minutes. So if I would request you all to share your questions in the questions tab or in the chat tab, and the speakers will take it up in the end. So I think I'll hand over the session to Abbas and Athar.
Jagrati, just sorry, there was some network issue. Super excited about this session and looking forward. It's a good collaboration. We've been working very closely with each other, and this real estate market in Dubai is at a boom. Growing for a crazy space for last 3 years. So we love to talk about it and how we can help everyone and doing good. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I think we can start with the presentation that is there.
Sure. Okay. Hi guys, thanks once again for joining. Let me take it up from here. So I think before I get into all those big words of artificial intelligence and conversational messaging and all those things, how we are helping real estate, I'll just spend, I would say, 30 seconds on what Gupshup is, right? Because a lot of people ask, why the name Gupshup? Actually, Gupshup is a slang that is used, to denote a chit chat that is happening between two people on a personal level, right? And I think with that ideology, Gupshup helps businesses interact with their customers on a more personal level using their preferred mode of channel, right? Now, channels can be different when it comes to an adoption rate from country to country. For example, in Middle East, the most preferred channel with over 80% and more adoption is WhatsApp, right? It surpasses, as a matter of fact, it surpasses Facebook and Instagram when it comes to the engagement. Furthermore, when we talk, because from a UAE real estate perspective, a lot of focus is there on China and Russian market as well. Wherein the preferred channel, let's say, is Telegram. In China, we have WeChat. In Asia Pacific, we have Line, Signal, INMO, Viber. So Gupshup actually helps you to interact with your customers across these channels, right? You can choose any channel depending upon where you are running the marketing campaign, and based on that, Gupshup will actually give you that channel through which your customer can interact with you, and your agents, your team can actually talk to them from a single platform, right? I think from a perspective of Middle East, when we talk from a channel adoption perspective, I think the most adopted channel is WhatsApp, and that is why a lot of real estate, when we talk from a portal perspective, when we talk from a developer perspective, as well as if we talk from a broker perspective as well, WhatsApp is something that is being very heavily used when it comes to generating leads, when it comes to qualifying leads, and when it comes to nurturing leads as well. So to make the journey very simple to understand, what we have done is we have divided the customer journey into three parts. And this typically tells you how WhatsApp as a channel can be used to engage with your customer right from the time a lead is generated till the time, you talk to them about, let's say there is an off plan launch, right? And now you are running a campaign. It can be on Facebook, it can be on Instagram, Google, any mode of social media, right? Now the technology, I would say, and the market is, going on to a mobile first space, right? Wherein if you are able to capture the mobile of a customer, you actually will be able to connect to a customer in a better way. And that is what WhatsApp helps you, because once you have a number of a customer that is using for WhatsApp, you can engage with the customer in a much better way, right? Now there can be a lot of journeys which are related to lead generation, where you can use WhatsApp for property promotions. You can qualify the leads by showing them details about the off plan, whether it's related to a video or a location or a payment plan. You want to connect them to an agent. If there is an expression of interest, you would want to connect the let's say if you want to take the passport or an expression of interest from the customer. So all of those things can be done on WhatsApp as a channel, and this in turn is very tightly integrated with Lead Square, right? Now any discussion that is happening between an agent, or let's say between a business and their customers, on any of the channels, whether it's WhatsApp, it's Facebook or Instagram, this in turn is tightly integrated with your CRM, which is Lead Square in this case. And that actually helps you to have a full 360-degree view and visibility as to what the communication is happening, and at what stage it is, which channel is the customer preferring, right? I'll just show you some of the journeys that we have created for WhatsApp. Now I think the other question that comes to everybody's mind is that, I could use WhatsApp as a channel, right? But for that I would need to have some database, right? And in real estate, we know that, there's a lot of data roaming around in the market. There are a lot of restrictions when it comes to DLD and all those departments as well, as to there needs to be an opt-in if you want to reach out to somebody on WhatsApp calls or SMS on any of the channels, right? So Meta, interestingly, what they've launched, and they're seeing a lot of traction in the, I would say, West market, and now it has started in Middle East, is using click to WhatsApp ads, right? Now imagine you are running an ad on Facebook and Instagram, right? Which typically, if you, it's let's say for an off-plan project, there is a nice video for this off-plan. A person clicks on it. It can either have an in autofill form on your Lead Score or Facebook page, or it can take them to a landing page wherein a person fills in details and registers, right? This in turn tightly goes and sits in your CRM, where some automation happens, and the lead is assigned to an agent, right? Now a lot of times if you see this stat, you would see that the number of clicks versus the number of submission on the form, there is a lot of difference in that, and the ratio is typically 1 is to, I would say, 40 or 50 in some cases. For every 50 clicks there is one form that I have filled, and I'm being charged a CPL for the same, right? Now having the same ad on Facebook and Instagram and redirecting a person on WhatsApp actually helps you to capture the customer's number, right? And now at this point of time, once somebody is inside our WhatsApp, we can set up a journey through which you will be able to qualify this lead as well, which is very important from a real estate perspective, right? We all know that the standard closing rate when it comes to real estate is around 1 to 1.5% maximum if the leads are very good, right? But and that is for the generic leads. But when we talk from a closing percentage ratio of qualified leads, it's much better, right? So WhatsApp as a channel over here is being used for a full funnel journey, right from the time somebody is seeing the ad till the time he's sending the message. It opens up inside WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp itself, we are taking down the details as to what is it that you're looking for. Is it 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, villa, apartment? What is it? If they want to see more details around the project in the form of video, brochures, all of that can be enabled. And instantly at this point of time, we will be connecting them to one of our property consultants as well. So see, in real estate, what is important as of today, seeing the competition, when we talk from a broker perspective, there's a neck to neck competition. I mean, for one property, as per the stats that were published somewhere, I read that for one property there are more than 200 brokers bidding, right? So I think from a broker perspective, it is very important to have the first connect. As soon as somebody sends out a message or reaches out to you, you have to connect with that customer instantly. So the connect time between the agent and the customer has to be reduced, right? We actually have some examples, live examples that were used by brokers over here, and that have actually gotten them some good results. This is an example for an off-plan launch, wherein instead of just sending a traditional, let's say, message on SMS or email, we're using WhatsApp as a channel. We can send out the video, because for all these off plans we have nice videos launched by the developers as well. So we could use that video in our first message itself. As soon as somebody clicks on it, the video would play, and then it would have certain call to action. Now a person can be interested, they cannot be interested, they can choose to opt out as well. So let's say if a person is interested, I can actually ask him to see more options. It can have brochures, videos, links. It can have details about what kind of property was it, what is a 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, and then if somebody clicks on it, it actually shows them the floor plan and all those things as well. So typically what we're doing in this full funnel journey is that we are trying to qualify the lead on the very first interaction that is happening, and any lead that is qualified gets again integrated with the CRM and gets assigned to an agent in real time. So these are some of the things we'll be talking about. Again, this is an example of a new project launch, wherein first message is sent, somebody is interested, they choose what kind of property it is, and then on the WhatsApp itself, interestingly, the third picture that you see, they have certain options related to the project. Now it is download brochure, that can be a project video, and this video can be a 360-degree tour. We can integrate a lot of AI onto it. There can be price and payment plan, there can be location, connect to an agent. So these are some of the things that typically helps a real estate broker to instantly get a qualified lead, instead of taking out the details, sending it to the CRM, and then the lead time between an agent connect, if you're not using an instant channel, is between 3 to 4 hours, and sometimes it just takes 24 hours as well. Using WhatsApp as a channel typically helps you to interact and connect with the customer instantly within a matter of seconds, and that in turn, once you start applying it in your day-to-day operations, you would see that in turn would increase the qualified lead ratio, and thus the closing ratio for your business. I think that is all from my end, but of course, would be more than happy to take your questions on to how you can start your WhatsApp journey for the lead generation when it comes to real estate. Thank you. Over to you, Jagrati. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Athar, if you could take over and explain what are the offerings for Lead Square.
Perfect. Thank you, Jagrati. Thanks, Abbas. It was really helpful and deep insight in terms of the real estate brokerage market. Thank you, everyone, again for joining this session today. In a very crisp way, we'll be covering why do we need a lead management or a sales efficient lead management system to operate on my sales follow-up, lead engagement, and all of these areas, right? So for any real estate brokerage business, we solve 5 basic problems. And these are very standard problems which would be there for any other broker in the market. The first problem is the lead integration. When I talk about lead integration, this is in terms of all your lead sources. You capture leads from multiple sources, whether it's your website, whether it's your Facebook ads or Instagram ads, or you have other different channels such as TikTok, Snapchat, or even Bayut and Property Finder, right? So capturing lead from all different sources should be the first pain point, and that we are solving through Lead Squared. Once this is done, we make sure that there's zero lead leakage in this process and there is zero lead duplicacy. So once this is done, we move on to the second point. That is point number 2 for any broker system is, as well as you create an equilibrium with your internal lead sales cycle, you also have to take care of the buyer engagement, what I think Abbas has done. So you get whenever somebody fills up a form on a Facebook or an Instagram, he gets a thank you for signing up, an SMS or a WhatsApp or an email. And every journey is automated through Gupshup and Lead Square together. Right? With this, what happens is the buyer also gets a notification and an acknowledgement of his interest onto the platform. And once this is done, we want move on to the next step, which is assigning the lead through an automated distribution channel through our platform to your agent. It could be on the basis of round robin, or it could be on the basis of the older guys, the experienced guys taking the larger ticket size budget and trust, or the newer guys taking the new leads, or you can have the team wise, and any bifurcation you want, you can have it in the system. Everything in the system would be automated, which will lead to less of human dependency, which will lead to less of any chances of an error, and which will increase the overall productivity and increase and decrease the tat of acquisition of a lead and then speaking to that lead. So that is the second point of any business, which is very important. Highly competitive market, lead cost is more. That same buyer would be rolling up on different platforms, different brokers. So you need to go first, you need to impact more, and you need to update into the system. That has to be done automatically. Third, once this is done, there should be an automated cycle of the entire sales process. So it's a new lead, it's a follow-up lead, and it will fly to the site visit or viewing, and it would go to the broking stage and the booking form. And in that booking form, you would have multiple steps. So you need whether it's a builder, which builder it is, and which are the units, what is the commission, what is the brokerage, what is my net revenue as a firm, what is the net revenue for the agent, what is the commissions, and every calculation, which is very, very important for any. As an agent, I am here to earn more, I am here to earn my commissions. As a sales manager, I want my team and my agents to close more deals, and as a management, I want to have the ROI analysis. So all of these calculations, all of these reports, everything is already there in the system. And then at the end, we also have a mobile CRM, which is it's like a pocket CRM in your pocket, which is available on Android, it's on iOS. It makes the journey for updating a sales agent a lead is very easy. So the perspective that we come is we don't give a very standard CRM wherein you want to have all of these integrations in which you have all third parties, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, bot, telephony, everything. Now this CRM is smart enough to tell you whom to call and when to call. Like there's a lead scoring parameter in this, which will give you a positive and a negative score that can be customized on basis of the action performed by the buyer between the agent. So for example, I give up a call to the buyer, he responds to my call, that's a positive sign, right? We go to a site visit, that's a positive sign. So all of these positive interactions are being accumulated and they are added up to a lead score. This lead score will identify and would be a set parameters for the agent to identify, okay, this is a hot lead. Now as a management, what I can do is everybody in the market has the data. Now the beauty lies how efficiently you are able to churn that data, how you are able to clutter the data, make a funnel on it, and then sell it to the agents. So for example, if I have 1,000 leads in my funnel, and out of that 400 leads are sitting in my new lead stage or a follow-up lead stage, my intent as a sales manager would be to call those leads, update those leads, and move into the site visit or viewing. Or if they're not interested, let's move it back to the funnel, give it to the marketing team to fine tune their campaign, give it to the agents after 30 days or 40 days to again churn those leads and move ahead on that. So that is when I am focusing my entire funnel. Out of that, 40% was in the new and a follow-up stage, moving them towards the next step. While this being said, the fourth step comes into the place where every broker wants to have an automated marketing functionalities through the process. A lot of investments in Dubai is being done through international buyers, and we have to be very informative in terms of that. So what we do is we do a drip campaign. You can set up email campaigns, and with Gupshup we can set WhatsApp campaigns. Any lead which is in a new lead stage or in a follow-up stage or which has completed the site visit or the viewing can we send a newsletter or an informative message every 30 or 40 days about the new projects which are coming in, about the new investment functionalities, about the rental lead which is going up, and different opportunities to invest as an investor or maybe an end user to earn more through this potential market. So while we are closing the leads and we are tightening the sales process, while we have the entire view of what is happening in my business, I'm also equally responsible in creating the equilibrium of the buying intent. At the back of the mind, I'm sitting in any part of the world. If I have to invest, the name comes onto the mind whenever I get from a property broker. So that's the intent. The screen that you see on live is a workflow automation builder. You don't need any developer for this. It's a low code or a no code platform. You can just put up the logic. As you can see, whenever a new lead enters into the system, it goes for a send email. Then you put up a wait condition. Now this is very important. What we have seen, and this is one of the common questions, that agents don't pick up the call whenever they get a new lead, or they tend to miss up a follow-up. How do we automate that? Okay, so let's suppose I have put up a tat of 2 hours. You can change it according to your business. Whenever you get a new lead, the agent will get a task and a reminder. Everything would be automated. He will get 2 hours to update. If not, then this lead will automatically go to the next agent. You can change this 2 hours to 10 minutes. You can change this 2 hours to 5 minutes, or whatever you want. Now, once this is done, I'm making sure that every lead is updated, every data is coming to me, and every analysis is already done with me. And it's very easy to update. You just have to click one button and everything is gone. And you can do it from your mobile CRM, or you can do it from the desktop version. Everything is available on this. And similarly, in this way, you can create your database. You want to upload your data, you want to create your campaign leads, you can do that. And any other source, you can have it and you can automate the entire process. Could be done very easily. Within 1 hour, this automation would be going up and running. Okay, is it audible?
I think we would have lost Athar. Yeah, so as Athar was also mentioning that what Lead Square tries to achieve is give the management entire visibility when it comes to, yeah, you're back.
Yeah. So, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
can.
Sorry, I think it was some internet issues. Now, at the end, what matters to us as a marketing head or the management is, I'm investing a lot in my email and the marketing campaigns. I need to see the ROI analysis. I want to see a campaign wise breakup. I want to see how many calls are being done by my reps. So, call tracking, right? Everything is already built. We have Kupshap here who will support us in call tracking. You have the analysis report of every user, how many calls he is doing, how many are inbound, how many are outbound, what is the talk time. Everything can be automated through the system which is there on the screen. And I do a very deep dive analysis to see, I've invested on this campaign, this is my 10,000 dirhams budget or 50,000 dirhams budget, what is the ROI I'm getting, how many leads I've converted, how many leads are sitting at the site visit stage. So as a sales head or maybe as a marketing head, I can go and punch that lead, see what is happening. If there's a follow-up missed, I should remind the sales guy. If it is something that I can add value, I'll focus more on it. So that is how, and this is again your mobile CRM, which is very handy. It's a pocket CRM. The best thing that we have done is, what we have encountered a lot is, agents fear to update the leads. Now we have to understand, if you start and if you start questioning the intelligence of agent, they will restrict themselves from updating. Rather than, we have a fundamental where we want to be a part of their ecosystem, where they feel that this is their life, and the morning when they wake up, they see all the tasks which are pending, how much incentive they have qualified for, or commissions which are pending, which are done. So in this way, we are not only motivating them to close more deals, but that's a way in which we want the system to be used, the management to see the data, and at the end, it's all about closing more deals with the sales efficiency CRM. So I think that's more about it. I think we have covered it very well in this short span, and I think post this, if you have guys any questions related to this, we'll be happy to answer to that.
Thank you so much, Athar. So I think now that the audience knows why is it important to engage with their customers a lot more, and how can Gupshup and Lead Square actually tie into that engagement and the technology point of view. Let's jump into the topic of how exactly are we helping real estate businesses grow through conversational engagement. So to start off with, Athar, Abbas, I would like to ask you if you could tell us a little bit more about the real estate market in Dubai, and what are some of the biggest roadblocks that you've generally observed that mid-sized businesses face along their journey.
Sure. Athav, do you want to take it up?
Sure. So for any business, first is obviously, for any business, it's more important in terms of the data, right? Data is something that everyone is concerned of. So being Gupshup and Lead Square both are one of those secured parameters, those platforms globally across, where we have worked with largest financial institutes and real estate markets. So the data is very well secured. This is one of the questions whenever we start our conversation. the first question is, what will happen to my data? So data is very well secured. It's the first point. Second thing is how efficiently I'm able to churn the lead, quickly rotate the lead, move the lead, automate the lead, sales guys calling, updating. If not, I take those leads, assign it to other one. Third, there's a iteration in real estate market. The agents will go and come and again go. As a management or as a company owner, I would love to have all the information against the lead, every data which is there in terms of my campaign leads, conversation with me, and whenever a new lead is being assigned, I can pass it on to the next guy. So these are the broader daylight challenges, and again, conversion being one of the top areas. What I have seen, and I can Abbas can add to that, is one of the few brokers that we have worked for, and I think we have interviewed some of the guys who are top performing agents. The three things that they have informed us: a, whenever they get a lead, they're very quick to update it. They're the fastest one to update. They build a solid relationship with their customers, and they can have a repetitive sale up after that. And third is obviously informing the marketing team about the feedback of the campaigns and everything, and with that respect. So I think these are the three areas that I get to see every day on daily basis. Questions asked on from the real estate brokerage firms. Abbas, over to
I
you.
think definitely very rightly pointed out by Athar on these 3 points. But I think the baseline of all this is that real estate is a market which, I mean, real estate is an industry typically in which the tech adoption is still not as great as the other verticals as we talk of. We talk of banking, we talk of fintech, we talk of food aggregators, any other market we take, right? BFSI, government, everybody. So there's a lot of adoption when it comes to technology, but real estate, and again, that is also one of the reasons, because the human intervention will be there. And that is why when we talk from an AI perspective as well, the adoption of AI in real estate is not as high as any other industry as we see. I mean, if you talk from an service industry, we see that AI is being heavily adopted over there. But in real estate, since it's a traditional market, right, there has to be a human connect that happens between the agent and the customer. And I think one of the roadblocks is that the ease of tech adoption, because in some cases we have seen that there are very complex systems that a lot of times are implemented at the at the broker level, but the systems are not being used to the fullest, right? And I think what interestingly came out when we interviewed a lot of brokers, wherein Lead Square was there, that this CRM is specifically is very easy to use, right? Because when we talk from an other CRMs or probably other systems, big systems are being placed at different places, there's a lot of time that actually goes into training the agent. Because as a salesperson, trust me, nobody likes to update things, right? I mean, that is the nightmare of any sales guy, as a matter of fact, to update the CRM, right? So I think from that perspective, once they see the value that this is adding, because still now, I mean, there are close to around 2,500 broker companies registered in UAE, right? And I would say less than 15 to 20% of them have CRM. I mean, we talk to a lot of real estate brokers. A lot of people are still using those traditional mode of Google Sheets, right? A lead comes onto the sheet daily. They are getting the leads. Agents are calling, but the thing is that it is not efficient, because an agent can call today, right? They can call, let's say, for next 7 days. But when it comes to going back and following up on the day one lead, that is something it is missing. And if you don't have a CRM, absolutely this is impossible to go back and get the follow up done on the previous lead, right? So I think on that front, now there is a lot of awareness that is coming to the brokers, specifically when it comes to implementing a CRM and using the right channels to talk to their customer. Of course, channels can be email, it can be voice, it can be WhatsApp. There are n number of channels through which you could interact with your customer. And I think the a foolproof solution would typically be to integrate all those channels, right? Because what Athar was showing in one of the journeys was, and that was very interesting, that you could create a drip journey wherein you could integrate all the channels. Let's say a lead comes on from a social media, right? The first point of contact is that we can instantly integrate a call. Automatically a call goes to the customer. Once the call is and connects them to the agent, once the discussion is done, automatically a WhatsApp or an SMS goes to this customer, right? So this typically increases the touch point. That is one. And secondly, when we talk from a offline perspective, right, and when we talk from an international, because I am sure there are a lot of real estate over here, they have a lot of international investors as well. There is that level of trust that you have to build, right? And that can only be built when you actually present yourself and talk to the customer on multiple channels. That is one, so that they have that trust value that, if you're talking to a specific broker, the broker knows about the landscape of real estate in Dubai. You are able to tell them stats as to what Dubai market is, what is the ROI, what is the kind of returns they can expect from this. So I think a lot of education needs to be done from the broker side to the customer end. And of course, that would in turn come as a whole when you would have the right systems in place. And that is, I think, what a lot of real estate brokers are realizing, that having a CRM, and in fact I met a lot of agents as well, they are slowly realizing that having a CRM and updating over there, a CRM is automatically reminding people there are certain campaigns. If they forget to follow up, the system is automatically sending, let's say, an email or a WhatsApp to the customer. CRM is typically a boon for them and not a bane. And I think this is a transition that we are seeing in this industry.
I think that's very rightly said, like, especially when an industry is not open to adopting technology so freely. And then we sort of introduce terms like AI and heavy technology systems in the play. I think it scares off people rather than helping them adopt the technology front more. But when it comes to Abbas, when it comes to conversational engagement, what exactly do we mean by conversational engagement?
Okay, so see, conversational engagement is also broken down into two, three parts, right? First, we have to understand what do we want to achieve from a conversation, right? So every conversation, there is a goal attached to it, right? There is no conversation happening without a goal. So I think what conversational engagement over here means, that a person is able to interact with their business, right? It can be through bots, it can be through AI. I mean, a lot of times we have integrated chat GPT and open APIs. You can ask them any question, and typically it just answers all the questions based on the knowledge base that we have created. So there has to be a flow of information. And I think what conversational engagement means, that there should not be a break in the conversation that is happening. That is one. And second is, any conversation that is happening should be goal oriented, right? Because a lot of times I could have a direct question asked to an open API bot, or let's say a conversational bot which is placed on a real estate website, but I could ask him any question and the bot will answer, right? So there has to be a goal. From a real estate perspective, my goal is to qualify a lead, right? Qualify a lead in terms of what is the budget, what are they planning to buy, are they planning to buy it on cash, on mortgage, what are their preferences, are they looking to for themselves, or they are looking to invest. So I think from that perspective, typically it is the flow of information. I mean, you could create it using an Autobot, which we have already built for a lot of companies, but at some point of time there should be a human connect available as well, so that if I want to talk to somebody, because when it comes to real estate, I still feel that there has to be the human connect to build that level of trust. Because a real estate, as a matter of fact, is the highest ticket size that happens in any industry when it comes to a single transaction, right? And that only comes when there is this human touch, there is this trust factor that is built. So I mean, to answer your question, the flow of information should be goal oriented. That is one. And at the same time, a person should never be restricted to a channel. I mean, they could today pick up the call and call me, right? Pick up the phone and call me. They could send me a text on WhatsApp. They could go to, if I as a brand, they could go to my socials, read more about real estate. They could see my Facebook page, Instagram page, send message over there. So at all of those places, so let's say I'm running a very interesting ad on real estate on Instagram, right? And a person is already in touch with me on a call, but he sees this ad on Instagram and now they want to know more about it. So I think typically opening different channels so that the flow of information is unhindered is what conversational engagement means.
Thank you so much. Actually, you've tied into my next question beautifully, because that actually was my next question, is that today no prospect sort of reaches out to us via a single channel. We have to be omnipresent sort of. And so, Asar, I would like to ask you, how can a real estate business actually leverage omni-channel marketing, and how can tools like Lead Square and Gupshup sort of aid that journey for them?
I think, okay, that's a good question. So, I would like to present in such a way that as a buyer, when I'm going to purchase a larger ticket size, it's something I'm going to invest, that's for my personal use. I would love to be associated with a brand which would have more experience, would have more sort of an engagement. So if I fill up, suppose I'm a buyer, right? I fill up a form at 4 o'clock at Facebook ad of any investment ad. At 4:01, if I get a notification through Gupshup on my WhatsApp, like, thank you for signing up at XYZ Properties, there's an acknowledgement to my interest. And every stage of my viewing, there's authentication. Obviously, you get your verified marks and you have the entire journey wherein the lead which is moving internally in the CRM, it is from new to follow up to site visit, everything is communicated to the buyer. Now buyer feels associate with its process, whether it's an international buyer or it's a local consumer, it's an investment market or it's an end user market. Everything has to be communicated in a way wherein they feel also a part of a buying cycle or which they are accumulated. Now what happens is during our secondary sales, we also have focused on primary and secondary sales. A lot of times we have to capture a lot of documents which can again be done through WhatsApp. And these documents can be well stored on the lead wall of an activity history, and that can be used again in the future references. So, for example, I have a client which I have sold him on a primary, and then I go for a secondary. I rent it out or lease him. Next time I go for the next transaction, I already have all the documents with me. I have the rent agreement, I have the passport and Emirates ID and everything. So it becomes very easy to transit. It becomes very easy to gain the trust of the customer, and that's the point when you use the technology to leverage your existing sales funnel and move ahead on the funnel. So I think yes, omni-channel, WhatsApp, emails, conversation, everything tracked together will eventually add more value to business. Over
Thank
to
you.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now that we've covered our bases with, yeah, we have to be present on different channels, and we have to sort of be the first person to reach out. When we talk about business metrics or calculating the ROI, how exactly can a business sort of track those metrics or measure those metrics that actually show an impact on their business? Abbas, maybe you could take on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
of course, of course. See, I think the first thing that comes to mind, so okay, I'll break down the real estate marketing into four parts, right? One part is typically the online marketing that we're doing on, let's say, Facebook, Instagram, Google, landing pages, and all the other things. Second is typically if we are, doing an offline marketing, which is, having it on billboards, different places. A lot of offline marketing is also available these days. The third one is, using an let's say a third party through which we are buying leads, right? And the fourth typically is cold calling. So I would say a marketing ecosystem of a real estate broker involves these four processes. I think when we talk from an ROI perspective, a lot of people focus on one, right, which is the online marketing, because that is where a lot of money is being spent, unless you are a developer wherein you have a lot of offline presence as well, right? So I think when we break down the ROI, especially for the social media ads that we are doing, right? I think one of the parameters, and every real estate uses, is the CPL model. They know that they see, okay, if let's say the property value is between 1 to 3 million, my lead cost should be 70 to 100 dirhams if I'm doing an in-house marketing, right? However, from a perspective of different, I mean, and when we talk from a closing, right? So imagine you are investing 10,000 dirhams on an ad and you are able to get 100 leads, right, for a specific off-plan project. The typical closing ratio, sometimes if the campaign is very good, is around 1%, right? Now when we deep dive into these 100 leads, a lot of times what we see is that 50% of the leads were in the not contact stage, or to some extent, if you would see the lead status of these, it would say that tried calling, did not answer, and all those things. Typically this is one of the gaps because of which the ROI, and I mean, people have actually I would say they have I mean, they know that the closing ratio is around 1%, and they have actually accepted it that 1% closing ratio is good, right? But when we talk from implementing systems, which is WhatsApp, and a good CRM system in place where you are decreasing the lead connect time, what we are seeing over here is this closing ratio increases from 1 to 4 to 5%, right? So instead of 1, it just becomes 4x, because of the fact that we are decreasing the connect time between the agent as the lead. And as per the stats, we have also seen that more than 25% of the people close with the broker they got in touch with first, right? And that is why the importance is to give a right channel approach. Whenever you are generating a lead, it can be through any of the channels, but I think from an ROI perspective, everybody is investing, everybody is running campaigns, right? But if you are able to put the right I would say channels as touch points, you would definitely see a lot of increase when it comes to the ROI. That is one. And second is, you should have different matrices to actually calculate those ROI as well. For example, our platform, we were talking about click to WhatsApp ads. We have actually created an entire module which helps you to understand how many people clicked on a Facebook and Instagram ad. They opened up the WhatsApp, and then once the WhatsApp discussion was initiated, if the lead was qualified, so you would know the cost of click, you would know the cost of qualified lead as well, which typically is missing as of now. Because as of now, if you see the ads of Instagram and Facebook, you know that the cost per lead, because you invested 10,000 dirhams and you got 100 leads, it's 100, right? But the cost per click, which is an important element, because I've already invested 10,000 dirhams and there were a lot of clicks that happened, which actually could be an intent audience for me. I'm missing on to those, right? So using traditional channels and moving out of them to adopt new channels which are integrated with the CRM actually helps you to track your ROI in a level way up, right? So that, when I'm running my ad, I am exactly able to know my cost per qualified lead as well, which is missing as of now. So you need to have the right channels, you need to have a right systems in place so that you are able to track the ROI in a better way. And of course, when we talk from an offline and some other channels as well, typically, a lot of these brokers and developers use virtual numbers, right? If you want to track the offline campaigns, or let's say online campaigns that has a number, you typically use different numbers, so that any call that is coming on that number, you are able to track that which of my campaign was performing well, and I got these many leads from that specific campaign. So there are different parameters when it comes to calculating the ROI. But I think choosing the right channel is important, and integrating it with the system so that you are able to give a full 360-degree view as to what happened in your marketing budget that you put for a specific ad.
I think very rightly said, because sometimes we get so lost into executing strategies and activating channels that we sort of lose out on the purpose of actually measuring and looking back at how those channels have performed, and which channels we sort of can do away with because they're not performing that well. Athar, what I would like to ask you is, earlier you were mentioning how easy it is to create automations on a platform like Lead Square, and how much of a difference it can create. So, how can a business sort of maneuver through automations as well as human interactions across various touch points that they have with their prospects?
Again, I think thanks, Jagrati. I from the last question when Abbas was mentioning about having a 10,000 dirhams campaign and a lot of leads are sitting in the follow-up stage, and I mentioned it previously as well that you need an automated system to create. We don't need any human intervention to act on such cases. The system is smart enough, and fellow competitors are again using such technologies to leverage this presence. What you have to do is you set up an automation, all the leads which are into site visit stage, not going ahead in the funnel from last 30 days, send them reminders, send them email campaigns, send them nurturing newsletters. All the leads which are sitting in the new lead stage or a follow-up lead stage from last 60 days of their lead creation and not moving into the funnel, they should be reminded to the sales head or to the agent or to the another sort of omni-channel engagement that has to be done, because at the end that lead has shown an interest, that lead has shown an interest against a property or a project or an investment or an end use, and it's still sitting in a stage where it's not proceeding for the viewing or a site visit schedule. So every lead has to be catered on the basis of their response against the sales cycle stage, and there's no need for human intervention. What I believe is everything in this world is automated, and you should leverage that functionality which is already there, and a lot of guys are already using it. So I think that is where we can streamline, and eventually end result is to close more deals.
I think, yeah, we've again tied into my next question, which is sort of the elephant in the room. That when you said that there's no need of human intervention, the first thought that comes to our head is AI. And so, would you all like to share your thoughts on how AI is impacting or will impact the real estate market in the future?
See, I'll just add some point to this AI piece, right? When we talk from an AI perspective, what is AI, right? AI is typically mimicking what a human does by a machine, right? So in the end, there is a level of what we are trying to do is mimic that human interaction that happens, right? And then of course, when we talk from an AI perspective, how it is better is that it can actually analyze large volumes of data and then give me an insight in, let's say, a single line, right? So from a real estate perspective, I still feel that, there is a lot of, I would say, interest in people when it comes to understanding from an investing perspective, right? Because be it any market, whether it's off plan or secondary, people want to understand that if I'm buying this property today, right, what would be its value, what would be my, let's say, ROI in next, let's say, 5-10 years, right? And if, let's say, it's a secondary, I want to know the past data of this, how was, what time when it was built, what time it was sold, how has the prices been increased or decreased. So I think from a data standpoint in real estate, when we talk from a buyer persona perspective, I typically would use AI to understand if I'm investing in something, is it worth it, right? And then from an AI perspective, let's say, a lot of times if AI is ingested with some certain data modules and everything, which typically helps a buyer to decide whether they want to buy a specific property or not. It can be on the basis of ROI. It can be basis, let's say, if I want to move in, I have my family, I want to know best places, let's say in Dubai, where in my kids can go to school, right? And it can be related to, what our facilities are nearby. It can be related to, is this place, does it have easy access to public transport, are metros there, what are the amenities, is it pet friendly? So all of those things. And when I want a list of all those people, all those properties, right? So let's say I want, tell me 5 places wherein, the education institutions or school are closer, right? And then this is where AI will come into the picture. It will curate a list of all those things based on the data that is ingested in AI, so that it is typically able to give you an option. Okay, these are the 5 options. Now when these 5 options comes into the picture, you would want to, talk to an agent as to, close the deal. And that is where there will be an overlap wherein you are choosing AI to shortlist a specific thing, but you need the human intervention to actually, take your decision and, probably close the deal. So I think that is where the overlap between AI and human intervention will happen. From a real estate, I would say, brokerage and a developer perspective, when we talk of AI, in real estate industry as a whole, we've been seeing that there are a lot of models, 3D models that have come, Matterport for that matter. You can actually visualize the full room as to how would it be a full villa, depending upon all the 3D modules and everything. Then we have a lot of home automation systems that are using AI, right? In which, it can actually save electricity and all of those things. So AI in real estate, of course, it has different aspects to it. But from a real estate brokering and from a buying perspective, typically it will be used to shortlist a specific list of properties. And then if you are investing and it's off plan, you would want to know what the future would be based on the past data that have been ingested in the model.
I think that's very well addressed, Abbas. I think we've covered all the niche in terms of the use of AI, and definitely, certainly, I see a positive future in the usage and the consumption of AI in real estate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we do have a couple of audience questions, and we will just look into those. Uh, there's one question by Likhit Jain. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. They've asked that, can we do CTI calling over Lead Square app? If yes, which are the service providers?
Okay, I think yes, you can do click to call. We have Norality in place. That's super sharpness. We can have a click to call with them, and all the interactions, call tracking report that you have seen can happen from Lead Square. The agents will not have to jump from multiple platforms. It's a single sign-on that we have. So that is how we can go about it. I hope that answers to your question, Mr. Jain.
Yeah. And the next question we have is Rishikesh. I think he wrote the question when you were mentioning about data security with Lead Square, and he said that when you mention data is secure, what does that mean? Is it encrypted, or could we also use geolocation to store data?
The answer would again still remain yes. The data is end-to-end encrypted. Lead Squared being HIPAA, GDPR, and ISO certified compliant software, and the data is anyways encrypted in the format. There are different centers that you can look. You can store on the basis of lat and long, restrict your users. There are different sort of restrictions that are possible. There could be an internal, there could be an external. You don't want your agents to have a view access, edit access, export access, or managers only to have view and edit access. You know, only the admins to have the export access. That's how you can predefine these permissions in the code environment. And the second is obviously how the data is treated. So that is when uh, both LeadSquared and Gupshup have worked in some of the financial institutes, core banking products, core government projects, where it's being well addressed. There's data security norms and the data privacy forms. And post this call, if anyone wants, we can share those documents, which is available on the public domain for everyone. But still, if you want, we can share the link in the chat box as well.
And we actually also had a few questions come in from the landing page submissions. So one of the questions asked there was, how exactly do we streamline our touch points or calling process? So when it comes to, okay, reaching out first, but you mentioned that there are sometimes in 50% of the cases calls are not getting picked up. So how does a business sort of streamline their multiple touch points so that they ensure that they get in touch with the interested lead?
Well, I think Atharv did cover a bit of it in the workflow that was beautifully designed, right? Wherein whenever a lead comes in, of course, the first point of, because if somebody is clicking a lead and submitting it right at this moment, right, there has to be an event triggered on any of the channels, be it voice, WhatsApp, or any of the channels, which actually acknowledges the request of the customer, right? Which tells the customer that the brand is there and the brand is listening to them, right? It can be on call, it can be on WhatsApp. Now there are different scenarios to it. Let's say if I got a lead right now as a business and I initiated a call, for some reason the person did not answer the call, right? Then of course there has to be an action attached to it. I could send them a WhatsApp, I could send them an email, I could send them a message, whatever it is, but I need to have a chain of communication that is happening, right? Because if I'm sending the WhatsApp after, let's say, trying to call them, I could mention that our XYZ agent tried calling you after this, would you like to schedule a call? And then we could have a small micro journey attached on WhatsApp itself, which typically chooses the time slots and give the person to choose a time slot, and then this in turn will automatically be sent to the agent, and we can instantly trigger a call at that specific point of time whenever a person wants to connect. So I think having all the channels in place and using them beautifully as to depending upon the preference of the customer is a must, and that can be done using the automations and workflows that Athar was showing you in the previous slides. Athar, you want to add something on to this?
I think the pointers that you've covered is more than enough. It's just that how beautifully you implement the system is also, I think, adoption plays a vital role in terms of adding more vendors. So that is it.
Thank you. The next question we have was regarding the ROI. So I think we had one of the poll questions as well, where we spoke about what is the conversion rate from various communication channels that we have. So one of the participants had asked that if there are certain industry standards that are there for conversion rates, how can sort of technologies like Lead Square and Gupshup help go beyond that conversion rate for a particular business?
See, I could answer first portion of it, and second, of course, Atharv can take it up. But in terms of the ROI, and typically, ROI is something which is subjective to every industry, right? That is one, based on what kind of campaigns you're running, what is your end goal from it. But when we talk from an engagement perspective, right? If we see traditional channels, which is SMS, email, and typically, all the outbound channels that are here in the market, right? We know that the CTRs of email and SMS are somewhat around 6 to 8% maximum, right? But when we compare it with the CTRs and the same kind of campaign done on WhatsApp, we have seen that the CTRs of WhatsApp are around 50 to 60%. That is a 10x jump in the CTRs. And we could directly relate it to the ROI as well, that the more the CTRs, that means we have more kind of one or more leads we have, and more sort of warm leads, and which in turn would definitely impact the ROI as well. But I think from a perspective of all the campaigns that we have run on WhatsApp and compared it with the traditional channels, we have seen that the ROI in some cases is 10x, right? I mean, to that level, because of the engagement, the kind of engagement that we're doing, as opposed to just the text which is there on the SMS and email. Now it's a full journey that is, happening on WhatsApp in the form of videos, brochures, rich media. People are actually, because in SMS, it's just one way, or email, typically a lot of people don't write emails, right? But WhatsApp is very handy. I could get a message saying that there's a launch by Imar, and then I could just click on it. I can see what all videos are there, what all floor plans are there, what are the rates, without even talking to anybody. And if I'm interested, I would definitely submit my request to connect to one of the property consultant there at that moment, right? So I think, instead of, I mean, directly there is no comparison between any outbound channel and WhatsApp because of its reach. But I think, again, coming back to your ROI question, when we talk from an industry perspective, we have seen that anywhere it is between 4x to 10x when we compare it with a lot of industries that are there.
Athar, would you like to add anything to this?
See, I think the way that we have addressed, it's a very competitive market, and the only thing that will be changes is that you do a very uh, frequent analysis on all your actions and then change strategies on the basis of it. What I think Abbas has added, I think it covers all the major pointers against it. And eventually, the way that I see from here is that market is obviously going up. You have to keep up with the challenges, and obviously there are a lot of challenges apart from the lead management and other different places of lead allocation, lead generation, human resource management, commissions, and developer intake. So everything that has to be automated, your focus would be going more in terms of closing a lead, more in terms of expanding your business, and is what I believe is some of the areas which has already been automated through these tools like LeadSquid and Gupshup. You should take the leverage of it, and you should automate your sales process to the very extent and focus more in terms of how you can increase the sales efficiency. Because what I've seen is a lot of customers which we share in common, the way that they have implemented, the way that they have gone deep into the business, I see really their impact into their conversions. And I have seen other customers who have also enrolled for this such tools, and they are not efficiently able to close it or implement it. The results in the sales efficiency and the expansions is really, it's mathematical, I would say. So I think using the new piece of technology is eventually resulting in a very quick transformation of the results in revenue closing. And that's where I see very competitive market of real estate, and being brokerage is one of those. So I think that's it from mine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, we've covered a lot in this session and it was really informational and helpful. I hope even our audience liked it. Athar, Abbas, any final thoughts on the topic, or anything you'd like to say to our audience?
I think the only thing I would want to say to the real estate brokers as a general is that a lot of brokers are taking the initiative to put some technology in place, right? Because as of now, that is missing. I mean, as per the stats, also only 15 to 20% of the brokers have a CRM in place, right? So I think if you choose the right tools in a way that it should be used with a multi-channel approach, you would definitely get a lot more in the same kind of money that you are investing in a campaign right now as well, right? Because of course, I mean, we cannot change the fact that the CPLs of such, I mean, some of the projects will not change, right? It would remain such. But then once you have the lead, how you talk to the lead, how you engage to the lead, how you follow up to the lead, and how you nurtured with the lead is what is important. So I think, of course, from a perspective of a traditional, brokerage environment, people still, feel that, Google Sheets are good enough. But I think, to all of the brokers that have actually implemented such solutions, they have seen a lot more or lot better results when it comes to, the total revenue or the commissions that they have closed on an year on year basis, right? So I think my suggestion would be, just be open to technology and be open to trying out new things. Because I mean, of course, at max, what will happen, it will not work, in one time, right? But you try it 3 4 times, it will click for sure.
Athar, any
Yeah,
last
and I
minutes?
think yes, I think with the new emerging market and the way that it's scaling up, you see the transactions happening on daily basis, and the new companies, the number of companies which are getting registered for the brokerage firm is something that's the real data. The way that we have to scale it up, again, the market is competitive. You have to just leverage these tools and use the best out of it. So yes, I think it was a good session. I hope we were able to solve the doubts and the questions, and we were able to address the value addition of these ecosystems to the real estate business. If there's any doubt, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, or we can drop in our email IDs, and we'll be happy to help.
Yes, of course. I think we do have one more question which was put in chat. Maybe Abbas and Athar, we all can drop in your email IDs, and
Sure.
they can reach out to you directly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody, for taking an hour out of your busy day. And I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I did. All right. Goodbye. Good evening.
Cheers.
Thank you, man.